Woo, baby! Alright, this is 13 with Superior Mobile by 13, and this is Kelvin's Durango, again, in from Ohio on his summer vacation in Florida, so I get to play on his truck. 1 year ago, I built these headlights for him, and they were Flow Series. We did a little strip, a halo, projector retrofit, lens etching, and fog light halos, blah, blah, blah. There's videos on both the build and the install that you can go back 1 year into my channel and view if you are so interested in. He lives in Ohio. Let's just say that several times over. He lives in Ohio. Ohio's different than Florida in regards that they salt their roads. They have this funny little substance known as snow that we do not experience here in Florida. So there was a problem with his install, and by that I mean a lot of problems. Basically corrosion. Almost all of the equipment that I had installed in his vehicle less than 1 year ago, I ended up pulling out and replacing on this trip. Yes, I used dielectric grease on my JST connectors. No, it apparently wasn't enough, and all of the connectors and all of the terminal points all subjected to corrosion. So when he came in here, I did a lot of rebuilding underneath warranty, but we also decided in our conversations that we were going to upgrade the vehicle over to BlueGhozt controlled rather than standard Flow Series. And so it ended up pretty well because ultimately I had to rewire the entire vehicle and all of the equipment anyway. Standard Flow Series does not require much fancy technical wiring, but if you're going to do BlueGhozt, everything has to be wired in series if you expect to be able to control them independently and have them operate as one. Also, in that process, I replaced all of the 5-volt individually adjustable RGB LEDs in his grille with 12-volt individually adjustable RGB LEDs. What does that mean? It just basically means they're a little bit brighter. So let's stop talking and start to showing. So here's the deal. This is the beauty that we've all been waiting for. Now, as you can see, we've got these 12-volt strips on the inside. This is, by the way, my officially the only way I'm ever going to do this type of Underglow installs ever again is I'm going to be cutting the strips in the front and in the rear. It's significantly more work on my part, but it's required because it allows you to do turn signal properly. So basically, we start from the center point and we work our way out. These are all the 12-volt strips. As it comes in contact with the bar inside of the headlight, it continues on. After a few little LEDs there, I have the halo down south kick on, and then after more LEDs up there, that halo kicks on, and then it continues around, all the way around to the back of the vehicle. It is incredible. So we have a full individually addressable RGB LED Underglow kit that is controlled by BlueGhozt, and also some halos and some strips in the headlights and all that jazz. I mean, ultimately, it's just a really, really cool interactive setup, and it all plays together. So you can see right from this angle, it starts in the middle, it works its way out, works its way down, works its way back and around, and that's the point. So if I put it on Cylon, you see that one really showcases how it shoots all the way across, back down, back across. Like, you can't do that with any other products. Like, this is super wicked cool, and I am so grateful that I got to do this build. So this one's called Hyper Spectral, which is basically just like Cylon, but it has a bunch of different colors involved in it, so it does a little rainbow effect as it shoots across. I'm going to use this one to explain a little bit of a difference that you've probably noticed while watching this video, is that it goes what seems to be extremely quick across the grille and not so fast across the headlights. Now, the reason for that being is that the 12-volt products have 3 LEDs per address, and the products that are 5 volts that are inside of the headlights, like those halos and strips, are a single LED per address. So although it technically doesn't go any faster across the 12-volt strips, it covers more distance over the 12-volt strips, so it does, I guess, go faster. I don't really know if I'm explaining that very well, but that's the idea. Let's see, trying a different mode. This one's fun. This one's called Parade, but again, you see the idea. All right, let's talk more about the installation, because that's what I'm a big fan of. I don't like seeing strips, so on this one it's really difficult to see any strips. That bottom one you can almost kind of get into under there, but both of the strip and the upper grille are backfiring, so we're not seeing the direct light, we're seeing reflected light. On the underneath of the front, you cannot see any strips, so we're getting all the ambient light. Now on the sides, this was a pretty fun install for me because I got to do something I've always wanted to do, which was I mounted right onto that crimp weld, or that seam weld shield. I'm not really sure what you want to call it, but that is, it's cool because on this we actually have a frame, so it's not a jack point. So what it allowed it to do is be unobstructed so that we get a great even puddle with no hard lines and then no shadows that are created. I think my only critique for myself here was that I used a full strip on this install. If I had done it more quote-unquote custom, then I would have been able to use the roll and I would have gained another maybe 4 inches and 4 inches on there. So you can see it ends just a simple little bit short there, but nothing really that you'd complain about. But it is just for my own critiquing. On the rear was on this vehicle especially challenging actually. I'm pretty used to building brackets and stuff for the rear. This one is very similar in the fact that it is floating. However, it is 2 hard strips that are basically, they got like a little bracket that holds them together. What's holding them up against the body of the vehicle is I made 1/4 inch ABS brackets because again, I am terrified of salt water now, so I don't want anything rusting. I didn't want to use any additional metal. And those 1/4 inch ABS brackets basically bolt up into some holes that I drilled, and that's really cool, and I'm happy with that. So some of the things I did differently on this install in order to more accommodate the salting of the roads up north that I don't have to deal with down here is I minimized the number of plugs that I used. This is the first Underglow that I did where basically all of them are hardwired in. I've never had any Underglow product failures, so I wasn't too scared to do that. I'm just gonna put on different random modes while I talk here, by the way. As far as the bumper is concerned, because bumper removal is definitely something to do with serviceability, so I didn't want to do any hard wiring on that. The bumper has essentially 2 9006 waterproof connectors that are, 2 of them are a data in and a data out, and the other one is the 12-volt power that supplies all of the stuff on the bumper, because the only other thing that's 5-volt power are the little halos down there, and they're actually, their JST connectors run all the way up and they are tucked behind the headlight housing. Now I will say this just from taking it all apart, that I noticed that the fog lights were definitely the ones that got destroyed the most by corrosion, but all of the connectors behind the headlights didn't seem to have any problems with corrosion. So I felt much more safe doing those connectors up there. However, I will say every connector is just slathered in dielectric grease. So I'm hoping that that will help prevent future corrosion issues. Also, I used a significant amount of silicone on the products where I was just concerned about moisture getting in. That's it, more silicone. So I'm gonna show off this mode here. It's called Rainbows Around the World. That's actually what I call it. But basically, the reason I want to show this off is because it shows that right now, the halos, the strips, the underglow, the grill lighting, it's all doing its own independent thing. It's all doing the same thing, but it's doing within the product individually. So basically, it's this color gradient within it. However, if I do one little click on the controller, as you can see now, everything goes together automatically. See how everything is fading from the center and it's fading outwards? And then I click that, and now everything is doing its own color fade cycle on its own, so it's not cohesive. And that is the power of wiring things in series with BlueGhozt, is that you can control these types of things and really dial in the type of features that you're looking for. All right, another added bonus of BlueGhozt is we're gonna have startup and shutdown sequence. Now, these aren't dialed in exactly the way that the client's gonna want them necessarily, but this is the way that I'm setting it up. So, you know, to be tweaked a little bit, but here we go. This is our startup and shutdown. Super rad. Also, while we're on the topic of vehicle integration, oh my goodness, check out the turn signal on this thing. How badass is that? It is my favorite turn signal that I've ever done. Now, obviously, I gotta tweak it a little bit in order to get it to go all the way around the vehicle. But this is the idea, is that with everything integrated, it can go sweep, sweep, sweep. Now, of course, the turn signal is pretty quick and there's a lot of distance to cover. So whether or not it's ever gonna go completely around, or you can just put it on standard blink, you know, that's always an option too. But the idea is, hey, you have options. Now, the other thing that BlueGhozt has is a brake light input. So as you hit the brake, everything will go red on this bad boy. Look at that, it's red. Release the brake, press the brake. On this particular install, this is the first one I've done in Underglow that was tied into headlights. So what does that mean? It also means that your headlights are gonna go red. Alright, it's not ideal, but the thing is, you know, it makes the whole Underglow go red. So, you know, trade-offs. The only way around that would be essentially to run multiple BlueGhozt modules. Now, granted, I will admit, like, that could be an option for somebody if they wanted to do that. I have not had an individual client who has requested multiple BlueGhosts in one vehicle. I hear word around the campfire is coming up on future software updates on the BlueGhozt, as they will allow multiple modules to be controlled within the app simultaneously and paired together, which, when that happens, will be a much more exciting prospect in order to pitch to clients. Alright, and I'm gonna do this for all you retards out there that are gonna comment something idiotic like, you can't do that, it's illegal. So guess what? Duh, you can do all sorts of crazy shit that is illegal. The whole point is just to not get caught. But while I'm on the topic of showing off this ridiculous red-blue strobe pattern, I am going to point out the fact that, so right now you can see that it's blinking within the halo, within the strip, but if I click on this mode, it's going to do it again differently. And it's all with one little click of a button, as far as on the app, is going to tell these products how to behave. So this is mode style number 1, and without changing any settings, I'll click it over to mode style number 2, and it's a different effect altogether. And that's really cool. So I gotta say, I like the way that this works, okay? It makes me happy. Now, I'm gonna be real with you, I spent almost 2.5 days doing this install. It is not for the faint of heart, and of course, with that many labor hours involved, the price point is also not going to be for the faint of heart. I can give a ballpark figure in the video description. However, every build is custom made to order. If this is something that you're interested in for your vehicle, then you should A, either find a local person who is qualified to do it, or, like Kelvin here, drive down from Ohio and hang out with me in Florida for about a week. For the record, I am still not currently taking on clients. However, if you're interested in potentially becoming a future client, I recommend that you email me directly, and then I will give you further instructions. There is a significant waiting list. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is 13 with Superior Mobile by 13. Have yourselves a wonderful day. I shall talk to you later. See ya!